What's happening, everyone? Grimaldi's New York brick style. I'm going to Grimaldi's today right after the show, actually, which is nice. Hey, Bobby, let's recut this to Castaverde when we get a chance, please. Remind me. Just sounds like it's sped up again. I love when people speed me up. Speeding me up. Where's everybody today? Pigs. Where is everybody? Usually got some people in here. It's a quiet day. Maybe they're watching the Raider live stream. That's probably what they're doing. Judge had me ready to switch from the don't switch from the A's, man. O'Connell's about to talk. Yeah, we're gonna play Gardner Minshew. So Bobby, we'll do both. We'll do Gardner Minshew first, and then we'll do maybe the next segment. Maybe we'll do Aiden. Yep. So you have Minshew queued. Okay. I'm doing good, everyone. I think some people are going to be listening to Aiden O'Connell speak. We're going to play it both. We're going to play the audio, so hopefully you'll hear a little bit of it here. I'll put my headset over the mic. We'll have that and Vinny Bonsignore, a couple of guests, and then tomorrow I'm hosting from the Raiders. Be out there in the morning, so looking forward to that. It's going to be a fun show today. Let me get a quick sip of water, and I'll be right back. What do we got, Bob? We got a minute or two? Yep. Come on, Jasper. Come outside. Come on. It's an elimination game. Ready. Out of the gate, JT from the home studio today with the brick backdrop. Got to straighten this out here a little bit. And we're rolling today as the quarterbacks are currently speaking over at the Intermountain Healthcare Performance Center. Gardner Minshew just spoke. What a trip that was. What a long, strange trip it's been. He even said he went to Dead & Company over at the Sphere. We'll have that coming up here in a little bit. Along Malcolm Kuhn spoke, but we're going to take the quarterbacks today on the flagship. Aiden O'Connell speaking now. So we're going to wait for some people here because the Raiders will have that, and then we'll turn it around and play it here. As I said, you'd rather hear from the quarterbacks than me, even though you've been with me for a long time. We want to hear what the quarterbacks have to say. So that'll be coming up here in a little bit. Vinny Bonsignore joins us, our NFL insider, and Olden Polynice, one of my favorite NBA guests, as we preview the NBA Finals. Busy time here. I think today, and I'm not out there because I'll be there tomorrow. I'll be at the Raiders broadcast facility tomorrow hosting the show from that beautiful studio. I'll be anchoring a lot of the broadcast on Media Day, which is coming up on Monday, June 10th. So we're going to be at the Raider facility all day on June 10th for Media Day. That's where all the players come out. They're wearing their jerseys. They get their photo for the year. Some of them sit down with us. Eric Allen and myself will have the team, and we'll interview from Max Crosby to quarterbacks and all that. So that's a big day coming up here on Monday. Thursday, I fly to Chicago for Mike Ditka for Gridiron Greats. I MC their Hall of Fame induction, which is always a big event for me, which kicks off the summer. So I'll be in Chicago on Thursday and Friday. Harry Ruiz will be in for me on that day. And then it's just countdown to Costa Mesa, as we'll be heading out and doing some select broadcasts from Costa Mesa, as the Raiders will take part of their training camp, and they'll go to the cooler weather, and they'll have that experience there, which I'm all for because I want to get the hell out of here. I think Dana Wagner, one of my favorite newsmen today, said it's supposed to get to 103 today, if that was correct. And that's what it says, 102 by 5 p.m. today. We're supposed to get 107 on Wednesday, 110 on Thursday, and 107 next Tuesday and Wednesday. So we're climbing into the 105s, which will be the 110s, which will be the 115. It's tough to play football. For everybody asking, well, they built this indoor facility. The indoor facility is great. The indoor facility is where the players live. That's where they live. That's where they go to class. That's where they go to eat. That's where they go to shower. They do it all there. And if it's inclement weather, or if they want to go inside to play loud music to simulate Kansas City or do that, they can do a lot there. But these players want to be outside with the green grass and the sunshine and working out. And, they're going to go to Costa Mesa for a lot of reasons, but I think it's going to be good for team bonding. Overall, the bonding of the team is good. There's differences between being in the team hotel at 9 o'clock at night with your teammates instead of being in your $5 million house backyard with a pool and a cigar with your buddies coming over, kicking back. And training camp's got to be hard this time around. And it's something I've been preaching as we kick off the monologue, brought to you by Golden Entertainment. They own the Strat, the Laughlin Entertainment's outdoor center, which I think I'm going to see 38 special there. How about that? And also close to 70 taverns here. PT's fuels the monologue as we open up the show. So the weather is going to be an issue around here, starting about today and going forward. There's no humidity. We don't have bugs. We got a lot of listeners around the country. It's amazing when you move to a place that has no state taxes and no bugs. Now, of course, there's some snakes and scorpions, but we don't have gnats and mosquitoes and things. There are people who live where I'm from and people who live in Florida, and it gets to the summertime and they can't go outside because they're getting hit by bugs, and they're constantly getting hit by bugs, and they have to have netting in their backyard. We don't have bugs out here, but we do get hot, and it's about to get hot starting today. I think the heat is good for this team. I think it's good for cardio. I think it's good for intensity. I think it's good for energy and all that. Caitlin Clark, still to this moment, is the biggest story in sports. Relax. I'm not going to give you a full Caitlin Clark monologue. But since I left you last, I did a podcast on this with my podcast partner, Tom Looney. Bob Costas has gone on CNN to speak about it. Hoda Kotb talked about it today. ABC News did a story on this. as men in media are coming to grips with why Caitlin Clark is something they can't debate or discuss without losing their mind. Pat McAfee yesterday called her a white B word. He called her the white B word. And today he opened up his show with a full apology. We'll get to that coming up. So we had to apologize today for using such a bad word and a bad term to describe her, because he's in the entertainment business, not just sports. He's in sports entertainment. And it came back to the point where he had to apologize for that. So that's been the story that everybody seems to be talking about. And once a story gets on cable news, Fox News, CNN, once that story gets on the Today Show and Good Morning America, then it's something that is no longer sports. It's mainstream sports. I often say that about the Raiders. You know, we talk Raiders every day on this channel because it's called Raider Nation Radio. And that's great. We have our own flagship station for the radio. But no one around the country is talking Raiders on their sports talk show. They're not talking about them on CNN. They're barely talking about them on NFL Network. They're all talking about Caitlin Clark. So when that happens, we pivot and kind of cover that story. And one of the other big parts of this story is the Las Vegas Aces are going for a three-peat to be one of the greatest teams in the history of the WNBA. And the Aces are a great story, but Caitlin Clark's even bigger than the magnitude of the Aces. I think the Aces going for a three-peat's a bigger sports story, but it's not as big as Caitlin Clark and what she's trying to accomplish here in the first couple of weeks of her career. She's getting all the attention. Everybody's talking about it. She's getting all the attention, and a bunch of people are making mistakes. People make mistakes during George Floyd and the riots. They made mistakes on the air during COVID. They're making mistakes with Caitlin Clark. They're making mistakes when we bring social stories, social injustice, or things that are happening in your life that are social, and we bring them into sports. A lot of people aren't prepared to talk about it. And that's what we've seen this week. Absolute step on the third rail. Pat McAfee's either the second. You know, I always said Lou Alcindor's number one and Bill Walton's number 1A. In sports today, this is just today, not historically. Number one is Stephen A. Smith, friend of the show. Number 1A is Pat McAfee. They both have enormous platforms on ESPN, which is much bigger than Fox Sports 1 and much bigger than all these gambling networks and everybody else combined. And Stephen A. Smith has had to walk back and talk about the WNBA, and he's getting pushback from some of the gals who play basketball on his panel. And Pat McAfee used the term white B, used the B word to describe a woman. And, you know, that was a fireable offense or a suspendable offense maybe a year or 2, 3 years ago. But Pat McAfee is beyond that, where he can't get suspended or fired because he has too much power. And good for Pat McAfee. There aren't many people in sports that have that type of power. So I just wanted to mention it here in the beginning because it's the biggest story in all of sports by a lot. And when that happens, maybe 6, 7 times a year, I want to make sure I bring it to you and remind you of that. And I'm not asking you to jump in and say, oh, man, let's do a live chat on what's going to happen here. But I am telling you, this is a big story. I've been comfortable with it because I think I know how to treat women in the workplace and in my home. I was brought up by great parents and grandparents to tell me not to use the B word, which I've never used describing a woman. And a guy did that in sports yesterday, and Pat McAfee, and it's reverberating today because he went out and apologized, you know, before this show began. And when I get up in the morning, I watch other shows to see what they're talking about, even though this show's different than the national show that I did last night at Win. And I want to congratulate Vice Raider. I tweeted it out last night. He came, the show that I do Monday nights at Win in their $1 billion casino in a gorgeous studio that obviously has glass. And Vice Raider, one of our listeners and friends, came up to the glass and waved to me while I was on the air. And he had giant amounts of money in his hand. And he tweeted out and told me that while he came to see the show, he went to the tables and won $8,000. Fact, not fiction. $8,000 yesterday. I had plans after the show with my wife, but he wanted to take me to dinner and take me to golf and take me for some cervezas. And normally I would jump all over that. JT the Brick in the third person. I love to entertain. I love to tip. I love to host people. But I love when people take me out in Vegas and pay for something. Pay for golf. Pay for a dinner. Pay for drinks. Pay for concerts and all that. And it was nice. I appreciate the offer from Vice Raider. Congratulations. Look at the photo on X at JT the Brick. That was a fun story from last night. Big NFL story today. Reports are Christian McCaffrey locks in on a contract extension, averaging $19 million per year. He shatters the running back market, shatters it. McCaffrey will receive an additional $8 million over what he was scheduled to make in 2024 and 25. He'll earn $24 million in guarantees. So the deal is a really big deal because we've been stuck in this $12 million range, right? Josh Jacobs. And I got to bring this up with Josh Jacobs because I like Josh a lot, and I don't think that Josh Jacobs needed to leave. When you go back and look at this in years to come, Josh is going to talk about it more. I don't talk about Josh Jacobs' money, but Josh Jacobs left the Raiders, and the Raiders negotiated really hard with him. They did. I mean, the Raiders were not giving Josh Jacobs free money, and he earned every second, every penny of his playing time. Josh Jacobs was a great Raider. He truly is. He's a great Raider. When it goes to the history of running backs, he's on that list with Marcus Allen, Mark Van Egan, Clarence Davis. You go through the list of all the great running backs in the history of this franchise. Josh Jacobs is on that list, but the former regime didn't want to give him a lot of money. They thought they were negotiating in good faith. Josh ended up playing last year, and he didn't play the last 4 games, which did not help him. And then he wasn't going to get a lot of guaranteed money. And I wish that the Raiders and Josh Jacobs could have came to terms on a contract that he was more comfortable with, because the Raiders were comfortable with what they offered him. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. The Raiders offered Josh Jacobs an amount of money that they were comfortable with. But they, the former regime, is gone. Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels, they're gone. And Mike Mayock and John Gruden are gone. Now the new regime's Tom Telesco. And Tom's only been here for a short period of time. And I think Tom's done a really good job of being prudent and having a really good draft. And he spent a lot of money on Christian Wilkins, who's a great player. And there's now more money coming in after Jimmy Garoppolo after we waited till June. But man, Josh Jacobs signs a contract with Green Bay, which is pretty much 4 one-year deals. So if he doesn't play well this year, and I hope he does, we don't play Green Bay this year. We played them last year. But if Josh Jacobs doesn't have a good year this year, Green Bay will not bring him back. They're not going to bring him back. And then Josh Jacobs, where the market was a week ago at $12 million, the market now is at $19 million for Christian McCaffrey. So Josh Jacobs missed out on that. And he's going to miss out on the next market unless he has a magnificent year this year. And I hope he does. I hope he has a big year. But wow, what we've seen, ladies and gentlemen, in the last couple of weeks is insanity. Justin Jefferson is getting $88 million to sign, $140 million over 4 years. That's the highest paid a football player has ever been paid other than quarterback. Has he ever played in a big game? Do you remember seeing him playing in the championship game or the Super Bowl? No, he got that money. He got that money because he was smart. What a genius move by Justin Jefferson. Kirk Cousins left. Follow me here. This is important. Kirk Cousins left. So the quarterbacks in Minnesota went down, okay, because Kirk Cousins is really good. He's not elite, but he's close to it. He's on that borderline very good to elite quarterback. The numbers back it up. So what did Justin Jefferson do? He locked in the highest paid contract ever, most likely not going to put up the numbers he did with Kirk Cousins. He's got Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy, who's never played a snap yet. Davante Adams did a pretty good deal when he came to the Raiders. The Raiders gave up a number 1 and number 2, traded for him, and then Davante got a lot of money in his contract, and that money that Davante has, which is a lot, has been shattered by Justin Jefferson. And CeeDee Lamb is about to make more money than Davante Adams. It's just the market. Now, I believe that Davante's got big years left. I mean, big. But Davante doesn't play with Aaron Rodgers anymore. Remember, one of the reasons why everybody wanted Davante Adams and the Raiders got him is because Davante played with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers won 4 MVPs. He was playing pitch and catch with Davante. Davante's now playing with Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew. You'll hear from both of them coming up. And Justin Jefferson is not playing with Kirk Cousins. He's going to play with Sam Darnold. And everybody today is praising Tua because he showed up in remarkable shape in Miami. where they just re-signed a Waddle to one of the highest paid contracts. He's the fourth highest paid receiver in the league. Jalen Waddle makes more money than Devontae Adams? Yeah, because the market moved. And Tua came in, all the baby fat's gone. So we're supposed to celebrate today that Tua has been out of shape for 2 years. He could have lost the same weight 2 years ago. Correct or wrong? He could have lost the same weight last year. Right or wrong? I'd love to drop a few pounds too, but I'm not getting paid to play quarterback. And now Tua is breaking the internet today because he came in looking svelte and lean, like he lost a lot of weight. And they were a playoff team last year. I'm not saying his extra 10 pounds cost him that. Same with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson wasn't overweight, but he's down 10 pounds. So all these quarterbacks are getting in shape. But back to McAfee. The Niners have a window to win a Super Bowl, and they haven't been able to get it done. They had a 10-point lead with Jimmy Garoppolo against Kansas City, and they had a 10-point lead with Brock Purdy against Kansas City, and they lost both those Super Bowls. So what John Lynch and Jed York and the organization's trying to do with locking up McCaffrey is they are all in. They are all in. They got a young quarterback who's not getting paid. What would you pay Brock Purdy? I wouldn't give him Joe Burrow money. I wouldn't give him Dak Prescott money, but he might get it. The Niners are an empire. The Niners have a big fan base. The Niners play in a top media market, and they're going to the NFC Championship game every year. He's going to get big-time money. So while Purdy is on a rookie contract, they're willing to overpay for McCaffrey. Now, McCaffrey and Justin Jefferson are two of the top 3 to 4 offensive players in the entire league, non-quarterback. And they both got paid this week. Max Crosby's making $6 million more. I think the Raiders saw this coming. With some of these contracts, they were able to help Max a little bit. Not that Max needs any help. He's doing very well. But the Raiders were able to jump in and give him a little pat on the back with a little bit of extra money there. So the money has been a big topic for me in May and June on this platform and all my other platforms, because I don't know how much money you make, and you don't know how much money I make. But I know how much money they make, the athlete. And what I'm judged by is my opinion on an athlete getting paid if they're overpaid or underpaid or paid correctly. That's really one of my job requirements. And I think I'm pretty good at it with my former stockbroker background, following sports all the time in the news. I believe that most of these athletes are extremely overpaid. That doesn't make me a bad guy. But I am a guy that I'm aligned in sports with ownership. I think it costs more and it's more risky to own a company, to own the pizza parlor, to own the bagel store, to own the restaurant, to own the NBA team or the hockey team than playing for the team. Because players come and go. And we don't go to the games other than to watch the players. We don't watch the owners. We don't watch the refs. But the players now are benefiting from a time in the history of this country that has to do with streaming. It used to be radio before television. Then it was black and white television. Then it was color TV. And most of us who were listening growing up, some of them my age or older, we only grew up with 4 channels: CBS, ABC, NBC, and PBS. Channel 13 when I was a kid. Then we got Channel 11, WPIX. Oh, my God. And then it was the birth of cable. You remember when HBO came on for the first time? Are you old enough? Something came around in 1979, ESPN. ESPN didn't exist when Dick Butkus was playing. When Fred Biletnikoff was playing, there was no ESPN. So then we had TV, and then there was no such network as Fox. And then Fox came in with Married with Children and The Simpsons, and Rupert Murdoch said, I want to get into sports. I'm going to hire one guy. I'm going to get football. I have to pay for football, but it's not going to matter unless I hire one guy. Who was that? Come on, everybody, help me. John Madden. He stole John Madden from another network, put him on Fox, and instantly Fox became legitimate. They became the future home, the number one home of the NFL, and John Madden is on the Mount Rushmore of all-time sports broadcasters because of that move. And Sunday Night Football. Remember, Fox came around, there was no such thing as Sunday Night Football. It was only Monday Night Football. Now we have streaming with Netflix and Peacock. So this morning as I was up, and I forget what was on, it was probably a Today Show or something, and they were doing a piece on what's happening in this economy with streaming and how out of control it's getting. Like Netflix going from $12 to $22 over a couple of years. HBO Max being bundled with Disney, and that's going to $30. And I just sat there having my first cup of coffee on the day, and I said, this is why Justin Jefferson and Christian McCaffrey are getting money that was not available a year ago. This money was not available 2 years ago, 3 years ago with Fox, ABC, Disney, ESPN, NBC. But now you add in the streaming devices and you throw that in, and then there's so much money that Roger Goodell is bringing into the league. Look at the ownership group led by Mark Davis and Allegiant Stadium. Is everybody aware of the revenue that Allegiant Stadium is bringing to Southern Nevada and the state, and the net worth of the Raiders? Our Las Vegas Raiders, who are your Oakland Raiders, Los Angeles Raiders, the Raiders in general, are now one of the most powerful entities in all of global sports, right there with the Yankees, the Cowboys, Manchester United, and Real Madrid. Can you believe the times we're living in? And I'm benefiting from it. I love this, but I want to see more wins like Raider Nation. It's great that there's Allegiant Stadium and it's hosting the Super Bowl and the Pro Bowl. And it's got corporate events and private events. And that all matters because that building over in Henderson is pumping out money and doing a great job in this community. But it's time to win games. It's time to win games because Justin Jefferson is not winning games. The last time I looked, he got $140 million over 4 years. Christian McCaffrey, who's a hell of a player, winning games, knocking on the door of the Super Bowl, getting all this money. Devontae's been paid. Might get paid again. Max Crosby's been paid. He's going to get paid again. This is a time that we're living in. As I'm talking to you today on YouTube, JT the Brick YT. It's going to change. I believe it's going to change. I lived through in Vegas the real estate crash of 2007 before I moved back here in 2009. I started as a stockbroker in October of 87 for the first ever stock market crash. I've seen changes in my life. I've seen wars. I've seen peace. I've seen elections. I've seen everything. I've never seen anything like this in sports, what's happening in the NFL. The WNBA is a different topic with Caitlin Clark. But what is happening with the revenue stream of this league is unbelievable, magnificent, and I don't know how much longer it's going to last. I think it'll last forever, but there's got to be a blip. There's going to be some team that doesn't sell for what the owner bought, right? I mean, if you buy an NFL team 4 years from now for $6.8 billion, does that mean it's going to go to $10 billion? Probably, but it might not. That's happened in hockey and other sports around the world. But because of this streaming that we haven't figured out yet, we just don't understand it. We don't know what's happening. We don't even know how to stream. My sons come in the house every night. Dad, give me your phone. Boom, boom, boom. They're streaming some UFC fight, some boxing in Saudi Arabia. They're wizards. They're kids. They're wizards at this. We just used to change the channel, and we're lucky that we had a remote growing up as kids. And the NFL is now rewarding these players because they collectively bargained, the owners and the players, on the split of revenue. And the revenue is enormous. And it affects you negatively as fans because your streaming costs more, your tickets cost more, your beer costs more, your hot dog costs more. That's part of it. I can't help you with that. I don't buy your tickets. I don't sell your tickets. I'll buy you around if you know me. I'll buy you around if I see you. Give you a high five and I'll buy you a beer. But I can't control what's happening now. I'm just happy. I've known Mark Davis for close to 28 years. I knew Mark Davis long before he was the owner of the team. And I'm just happy that Mark has played a role in the emergence of this global brand financially around the world, just on the stipulations of moving to Las Vegas when it was ripe, it was ready, and the city of Oakland screwed it up. And the city of Oakland screwed it up to a magnitude when you look at the net asset value of the Raiders now and in years to come. I mean, people in Oakland are going to put their head down in shame, the politicians. But remember, all those politicians are getting fired as we speak. They're all getting replaced because they were stupid. Got a lot of calls today on the A's, off the record phone calls. I tell everybody, I'm not talking about the A's. We're not on the flagship of the A's. They don't pay me to talk A's. Well, they might play 10% of their games not in Vegas. Woo, really? That's not good press. Let them figure it out. Let them figure out if the A's are going to build the stadium here and play 10 of their games in Dubai or somewhere else out there. I've said it on the record. I'll say it again. The best thing for the Oakland Athletics is to move to Sacramento and stay there. The people of Sacramento will love the team. The fans in the East Bay will be able to drive to Sacramento and watch their team. And Sacramento's a good sports town, and they'll love that little niche brand that was destroyed by their current owner. But when it comes to Vegas and money, and as I tie in the monologue to these contracts, wowza. Oh, this week, this is supposed to be a quiet week. I'm talking about Caitlin Clark and Justin Jefferson and Christian McCaffrey changed the position forever by a lot. So you're going to have a lot of players in sports who get jealous of each other. People are jealous of Caitlin Clark. Women are, there's no men jealous of Caitlin Clark. You name one guy you ever met in your life who's jealous of Caitlin Clark. I can name you 1,000 women today who are jealous of Caitlin Clark because she's getting all the attention and she hasn't proven anything yet. Well, yeah, she proved in college she could get better ratings than LeBron James. LeBron James does in the NBA. She can get it in college, and she's bringing it to the WNBA. But the amount of money that is being made now in the NFL is life-changing. And I just don't know how long it's going to last. I think for the top teams, including the Raiders, are in the top 20 globally. They'll be bulletproof, for lack of a better term. The brand Vegas, entertainment, sports capital of the world, it'll be great. I wonder what will happen in some of these other markets. You know, a lot of these teams are going to put their building on hold in Chicago and Washington. You see what interest rates are? Try building an arena or a stadium for $2 billion with the current interest rates. It's a deal breaker. Okay, the Raiders got here on time and on budget and built a glorious stadium. Now they have to bring players in, and they're going to have to pay these prices McAfee's getting, all these other guys are getting. They're going to have to pay and put a team on the field that can compete for championships. I think they're on the right track. As I've said, I don't know what their record's going to be this year. I think they're a better team than last year when they should have won 9 games. 9 would have been okay. Winning a Super Bowl is the only thing I care about. Mark cares about. Well, that's it. 11, whatever. You want to win double-digit games. The Raiders were close last year until we lost 3-0 to the Vikings. God, I have to go see someone. I haven't been to a therapist in my life. I need to scrub that 3-0 game out of my mind. It still bothers me. But the Raiders have a better team than they had last year. And all they got to do now is win tight games and be better on defense the way I think they're going to. And the Raiders can compete for a world championship here, maybe sooner than I think. I like the roster a lot. I think it's better than a lot of other teams that are rated higher than them. That's the monologue, as I always do. I give you 30 minutes right out of the break without a breath. I just took a breath, and hopefully we hear from you. If not, I have all the content prepared in my mind, and I'll hear from you if you'd like. 702-365-9200. Coming up, Gardner Minshew, which I watched. It was trippy in a good way. It was trippy. I like this guy. I like the way he talks. I like the twang of the voice. I like the bandana. I like this guy. I also like Aiden O'Connell. He spoke. And we'll have all that coming up on the flagship of the Silver and Black. Yeah. How long is it? Ooh, okay. Okay. Yep, nice. All right, everybody. You saw something unique there, which not that anybody should care, but if you're wondering what I did there, I was going, I was talking about Caitlin Clark, and then something popped in my head on the McAfee contract, and I tied it into the stadium and the Raiders and the revenue and streaming all through that. I didn't prep that. I didn't write notes down, as you can see right here. Hold on. Nothing. No notes. And I'm proud of that. I mean, I could sit here and write notes for 2 hours before the show, but I think that by watching sports, I don't have to do that as much. But again, I tried to tie in Christian McCaffrey going for these contracts going from 12 to 19 and Justin Jefferson going to 140 and 35 guaranteed a year, because I think for me, it comes down to the growth of the streaming and the television money and the values of these teams going up. If you see it any other way, let me know. We won a Super Bowl. It's date day for Fabian. Fabian's going on lunch and a movie. What movie are you going to, Fabian? I'm looking for a good one. Maybe a movie to download on my tablet. I'm going to Chicago this week. Watch a movie on the plane. Yeah, Pat McAfee apologized today. Yeah, I'm looking for. I did not see or hear Aiden O'Connell because I'm doing the show, but I can't wait to play that. So what we're going to do here is we're going to play Gardner Minshew for a few minutes. I'll try to connect that through my, what I got here? My Yeti mic. That's the mic. Yeah, Corey made a good point. I'm going to read this. New pattern: pay your wide receiver when you have a quarterback on a rookie deal or a lesser deal. Then when the quarterback gets the contract, you trade the veteran wide receiver. Yeah, that's really good. I like that, Corey. That's the type of content I'm looking for. Oh, there's Mike from La Casa Cigars. I should come by La Casa for a drink and a smoke. I might be able to do that, Mike, tonight. Again, I might be able to do that. I'm having lunch today at Grimaldi's in Henderson with a partner here on the show. And then maybe La Casa. My featured glass of the day is Raisin Cane's, proud partner of the show. All right, the Raisin Cane's Raider Cup. Oh, and the shirt. This is Rush's studio where they put out all their great music. Should have made that a trivia question. See who knew that one. You can hear. This message is sponsored by Grant to the Sones Corporation, aired in cooperation with the Bad Broadcasters. I also had a good interview with Vinny Bonsignore last night. Okay. Yep, I got it. Gardner Minshew from last October. Yeah, Minshew Mania closed down the Oakland Coliseum, and he beat us recently. Gardner Minshew beats the Raiders. Hopefully, if he gets an opportunity to play and start for the Raiders, and I'll wait and see how that plays out in the preseason. We'll get an understanding of how good of a player he could be. The comparisons to Rich Gannon at age, the comparisons to others around the world that who played at the same age or bounced from team to team, doesn't matter. He's a Raider now. The good news for the Raiders on Gardner Minshew, and it's really good news, is he can win. He can make every throw, and he has made every throw, and he's won in this league. Gardner Minshew can play in this league. There will be no one who can argue that. The only knock against Gardner Minshew is his stats prove that he's not an elite quarterback, which is okay. The stats, Rich Gannon was trending to being a good quarterback. Good. He came to the Raiders, and he became elite. He went to 2 AFC championship games, a Super Bowl, and won an MVP. That's elite. And he developed into that type of player. Gardner Minshew has got all the skills. He's good outside the pocket. He's good inside the pocket. He's great, wink, wink, in 12 personnel. He's better in 12 personnel than he is when he's not in 12 personnel. But if he's going to be the quarterback, he's got to beat out Aiden O'Connell. And I don't know who's going to win that battle because I haven't seen him practice and I haven't seen him play in the preseason when it counts. I've seen Aiden play up close, and I've covered Gardner Minshew's career. I think it's going to be a really tough decision. Here's Gardner Minshew speaking to the media about a half hour ago.
It's been awesome, man. The energy's been great. I think we've been preparing the right way. Guys are showing up ready to work, and I really like what we're building as an offense, as a team. Man, it's been a lot of fun.
They're picking up the new offense on the camp.
I think it's been really good. Ups and downs, but I've been more ups and downs. We're playing against a good team across the ball. Our defense is doing some great stuff, really challenging us, and it's been a lot of fun.
Feel the fire where you had to pick
How you learn best, I think for me, it's a lot of like voice recordings, hearing the play and walking through. Drawing it up doesn't do as much for me personally. So I think just figuring out what works for you and then implementing that.
What's been different about Vegas that's made you feel the most comfortable that you have in the past?
No, that's a great question. Man, honestly, it's the guys, the energy. As soon as I walked in this building the first day that I signed, you could just feel it, from defense, offense, coaches, everybody feels like they're pulling in the same direction and wants to get this thing going the right way. And I think if everybody's on the same page, we will be able to get it done.
Gardner, how would you describe quarterback competition between yourself and Aiden?
It's been great, man. I think we both put together a good camp so far, man. Been pushing each other, but also just enjoying each other, enjoying our room, man. We got an awesome room, not only with Aiden, but with Anthony and Carter. We're having a ton of fun right now, being very competitive, and I think that's only going to make our team better.
How hard or how easy is it then to find that line between being a good teammate, but also, you're competing. You want the job yourself.
Yeah, I think as any real competitor, you don't want them to be worse. You want yourself to be better, So the better he is, if I'm beating him out, that means I'm just raising it that much more. So that's kind of how I've always viewed it. If he's pushing me and he's completing every pass, I got to figure out a way to do better. So I think that's the only way to really ever improve.
And have a direct conversation about hey, you're a veteran. I understand we're competing, but this is how our relationship is going to work. Is that a conversation that happens?
Not really, man. It's been pretty smooth. I think, we had initial conversations, just, getting to know each other. And once they get to know Aiden, he's a team guy. I'm a team guy. We both want to win. We both want to get better. So, there's really not much conflict of interest there. Yeah.
What stood out the most about Aiden on the field now that you've been with him?
Yeah, I think he's super smart and he's super accurate. As a young guy, he really understands football, understands progressions, timing. And, man, it's fun to watch him interact with the guys, man. He has a ton of energy. And it's just a lot of fun to be around.
We haven't seen him out here yet, but have you had some conversations with Devontae, and what are you looking forward to most in terms of maybe learning from his angle and one of the best receivers in the league?
Oh, absolutely. No, he's had a ton of conversations with Devontae. He hasn't been out yet, but super excited to get to work with him, man. Been watching, a lot of his stuff with the Packers back with Rodgers. That was a lot of the Getsy stuff and a lot of the concepts that I've been seeing them run on tape for years. We're finally getting to run. And kind of getting the minutia, the detail of what he likes, why they're getting to it versus certain looks. It's been some awesome insight, and just really looking forward to getting into that more.
You spoke on how challenging the defense has been against what you guys are trying to do in progressions and all. So how has that helped you elevate your game?
Oh, it's huge, man. You got to be ready. Typically coming in, you get day one looks, day two looks. It's pretty base, pretty vanilla. Our defense is coming out guns blazing first day. And that really makes you be on your stuff, not only to know what you have on perfect looks, but when things break down, when it's not an ideal look on a play, how are you going to make it work? And I think we've been doing a good job of that through camp.
Whether on offense or on defense, who has stuck out to you the most so far?
Man, I'd say Christian Wilkins. That dude is running so fast every single play. Wherever the ball is, don't look like you'll see him soon. You know what I'm saying? He shows up. It's really impressive to be around a guy that nonstop works the way he does.
We know the interaction with Max last year, but he's notorious in practice for going after his own guys, just kind of, inspiring some competition, that kind of thing. And you kind of experience that.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. It's the first day. I think he's trying to send a message, but I had to send a message back. It's been fun, man. That dude's competitive. He's going to push it to the limit. And like we were saying with everything else the defense is doing, that's only going to make us better. And it makes practice a lot of fun, too.
Gardner, as a veteran in this league for a while, there's been some talk that the commissioner brought up the potential of going to an 18-game season. As a veteran, is that something that you should think about, or what are your thoughts on that potential? And also, Super Bowl maybe even being moved to mid-February.
Yeah, I don't really think about that too much. I think we kind of signed that away in our last CBA. They kind of got that right from us, and I don't think they're going to give it back. So we'll be playing more games until we, get a little more leverage to, be able to do something about it.
What about the off-season program? You favor moving everything back?
I don't know, man. I see the pros and cons both ways. It'll shake out the way it shakes out. We'll show up when they tell us to show up.
I asked one of the AD coaches if he likes to have his players have communication sort of organically with the quarterback, so there's understanding the nuances. On the flip side, do you like that also, to maybe have a relationship?
So we're playing the audio of the interview.
Absolutely.
As I'm watching you in the chat.
I was with in Philly.
Modern radio.
This
didn't exist back in the day.
Player, hard-nosed football player. Like anytime I get to kind of pick his brain, or if he comes up to me, hey, that was nice. We know we're on the right track and doing some good stuff when you get that overlap.
Gardner, what do you think are some of the similarities and differences between you and Aiden's game that makes this competition so unique?
Yeah, I think one of the best traits both of us have is just kind of decision making. Kind of keeping us on track, keeping the ball moving forward. I think that's been one thing that's like on our good days, man. It's just been completion. And I think it's been fun, man. I think we lead in different ways. You know what I'm saying? But both of us take charge of the huddle and get the team moving.
Gardner, just early impressions of Brock Bowers out there.
He gets open, he catches the ball. We're not tackling or anything right now, but after he catches it, he looks pretty good too. So I think there's a lot. That's the thing. There's a lot of guys out there doing that, getting open and catching the ball. So man, there's a lot of exciting times around here for sure.
Last time I talked to you, you were just getting to Vegas.
We're coming back.
Loving it, man. Loving it. Gone to the Sphere, seen Dead and Company. That was pretty cool. Don't get to do that everywhere. But no, man, it's a great place to live. Live here by the facility. The facility's amazing. Got everything we need here. So it's a great setup.
Have you become an Aces fan yet?
Not yet. Gonna need to, man.
All right, there he is, Gardner Minshew, Dead and Company at the Sphere. There's just something about him. And I'm not comparing him to the Snake, Ken Stabler, comparing him to someone else. He's just different in a good way. And again, he's an elite backup quarterback. If he's a backup, he's elite. If he starts, he's going to have an opportunity to be really good because of the weapons that were there. Heard about Brock Bowers, throw him the ball, catch the ball. He's a lot of respect for Aiden O'Connell. He is here competing. So a lot of people on my chat on YouTube, JT the Brick YT, you could kind of get into my house now, see me in my studio. That's why we're doing this on YouTube. One of the gentlemen asked me how important it's going to be with the preseason. And he's right. It's going to be very important that this team, Tony Sheffield says, got to figure preseason, very important with the quarterback battle. Agreed, JT. Absolutely. Absolutely. As of now, I think that if Gardner Minshew proves in practice, OTAs, and when they come in as a team and they get some work in, if he's playing better than Aiden O'Connell, then it's going to come down to the preseason. If Aiden O'Connell wins OTAs and training camp and plays early in the preseason, it's his job. Gardner Minshew's got to beat out Aiden O'Connell to be the quarterback of this team. We're brought to you by the DeCastaverde Law Group. The brothers have your back. Alex and Orlando DeCastaverde, 702-222-9999. Any idea how long Aiden is? Any idea how long Aiden O'Connell is? You're going to be able to cue it up? What do you think? I'll get us to the top. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay. All right. The sound that I gave you for the opening, sound for today, Justin Jefferson, Pat McAfee show. Pat McAfee 4. Why don't you come out of that other break with Pat McAfee 4? Yeah. Thanks. My Yankees are rolling, Dom. My Yanks are rolling. We'll go here about another 20 minutes. I'll take it to the top of the hour. Did a podcast today. I'll put it in the chat. What was that one? Who do I got in the finals, man? This one's tough on me. Old and Polonese next hour. I think Boston's a better team. I have Boston in 7, but that's pretty gutless because if I like Boston to win, I should take them in 6. Dallas has got Kyrie. I don't like Kyrie, and I don't root for Boston. So I'm going to have a tough one with this one. I'll go with Boston to win in 7, 6 or 7, but I'll go 7 to play it safe. I think they're the better team. Yeah, I know CC Sabathia. I've interviewed him and seen him on the sidelines. CC used to listen to me when CC was living back in the Bay in Los Gatos, Hayward, in that area. Vallejo, excuse me, with CC, Vallejo. How smooth it is. Talk to Aaron Taylor. Talk to Aaron Taylor, the real estate guy. Bobby, I'm going to give you a Resorts World here, please. Mm-hmm.
Brought to you by the Black Hole. Become a member of football's most notorious fans.
Yesterday, while talking about sports, I utilized a descriptor that I certainly should not have used. Now, to break down the whole story would take about 15, 20 minutes. Obviously, if you haven't heard, you're not on the internet or I think any of the cable news or morning news situations. After about 15 minutes of doing a new game show called Guess Which WNBA Rookie here on this particular program, I utilized the words white to describe Caitlin Clark as being the superstar in Indiana. Now, when I was saying it, I legitimately meant it in a complimentary fashion, like this is the one, and as I said it, didn't even think, honestly had no idea what was happening on the internet until 2.5 hours later after the show ended. Then I started reading through a lot of comments that were being said, and I felt like actually the worst human on Earth for a good portion of my travels yesterday over to Hershey and then into last night, even during Monday Night Raw and flying home and even into this morning from things that people are saying going, damn, those were not my intentions, but that's how you took it. That's on me. I do apologize. To a lot of the people, though, that were calling me racist, I had no idea that was even possible. I guess I am 0.01% Italian. I did take 23andMe, so I guess there is a little bit, maybe I had no idea that was good. Or sexist, that was not the 15 minutes leading up, or disrespectful to Caitlyn. The 15 minutes leading up to that, I was literally talking about how I hope that the WNBA and sports media and ex-WNBA players would show a little bit more respect.
All right, that's a Pat McAfee apology from earlier today. That is trending all over Twitter for using the B word, white B word, when he described Caitlin Clark. It wasn't taken out of context. That was his apology. That was his apology. If you call it that, I do call it an apology, and I think he needed to apologize, and he did. We're brought to you by Resorts World. I just want to tell you about a couple of experiences I've had there lately. Gatsby's is an upscale cocktail lounge there, and you can go there for various celebrations. Their staff there is unbelievable. Enjoy the sweet new Get Out and Dance cocktail for National Best Friends Day. They always have a promotion. It's always festive. If you're waiting to get into a restaurant at Resorts World, you got friends who are on the gaming floor, you can go to Gatsby's and get a great cocktail. And I had dinner recently at Carver's Steakhouse, where I was there for the original opening, and I hadn't been back. And it blew me away. The dining experience, the heights at Carver's Steakhouse are fantastic. It's a contemporary steakhouse. It offers an extensive menu. Fan favorites, dishes, the dry-aged American steaks are fantastic. If you like Japanese Wagyu, you're going to get the best there and more. Make your reservations today. Resorts World, proud partner of our show, and their restaurants, they're hitting it out of the park. So on McAfee, as I just mentioned it there, if you don't know about this, then either you're living under a sports radio rock or you're just not into sports. And that's the biggest story in sports. Pat McAfee calling Caitlin Clark the B word and then having to go back on ESPN where he's allowed to curse and use profanity. That didn't exist a while ago. I didn't know you can curse and use profanity. It's cable. He's able to do it. So he's pushed the envelope. He's pushed the envelope in a big way, in a really big way. And I think he's one of the rare guys here. I don't want to say never, but he's not going to get in trouble. He can do things and apologize. Most of us can't do things and then apologize and not get suspended or keep our jobs. And that's what happened earlier today. Jeff in Vegas is on hold. Jeff, thanks for calling the show. What's happening? Hmm? 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 Yeah, today's not a good day, my friend, to do a deep dive on Ohtani, but if you can put it into a 30-second recap of if he's going to get caught or in trouble or a connection to Vegas, go ahead and let it fly. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And a documentary movie. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. Appreciate the call, and I appreciate your insight on what's happening in the underground gambling world. on this Ohtani case. It's tough for me because having a sports talk show, I like to read it. I like to see the transcripts. I like to see what happens before, and you've been very accurate with what's been going on, but you can imagine the position I'm put in. I'd like to see more of this documented when the deal comes out and follow up that day so I can also corroborate it by reading it in the Review Journal or somewhere off the site. But I appreciate it. You've been straight and right on with all the booking and all the incidences around this gaming scandal with Ohtani. I really appreciate you calling in and sharing that with us. 702-365-9200 is the number. Thanks to my YouTube audience, doing an hour on YouTube. That's what people wanted. I give it to you every day now. Tomorrow we come to you live from the Raider facility. So I'll be inside Raider Nation. Hopefully we're going to get a coach or a player, and I'm excited about that. Coming up, Aiden O'Connell spoke to the media, and I also have Vinny Bonsignore coming up. It'll be a big hour or two here on the flagship of the Silver and Black. All right, everybody. I thought that was a good hour. We covered a lot. Appreciate you being patient with the home studio compared to the regular studio. Tomorrow, I'll stream from inside the Raiders for a little bit, and we'll see how that looks, and that'll be it. Have a good day, good night. Enjoy a kind of a quiet day other than the Oklahoma-Florida women's softball. It's lean out there, man. Happy that we have this platform to talk sports. Thank you for doing this today.